You have a body, and that body is very, very precious because you can bring things into this reality that are unique to you. As the universal current starts to enter through your personal field, you then bring your own particular brand of humor, happiness, skills, your business or your artistic way of expressing yourself in your life, the way you relate with loved ones or people that you meet on the street. You physically land that purity and that love energy, that particle wave here on Earth. And it is this which makes the change. So it's very important for each and every one of us on a daily level just to get into the habit of stopping for a while so we don't get in the way of this mechanism. You know what happens? We get pulled into all sorts of stuff on a daily basis, and before we know it, we're listening more to someone else rather than ourselves. Or we're buying into whatever's going on up here in our heads rather than maintaining our own poise and equilibrium on a daily level. This is what I mean by we can get in the way of that natural mechanism, which is always purifying. If we stop, we just reset ourselves for a few moments. And when we stop, we don't engage in any of the other stuff that is going on. We don't accept it and we don't reject it. In fact, we are just still. And in that stillness, there is an expansion of something that I like to call calm, open brightness. And because we're not getting in the way, our purity floods in even faster and more strongly. We start to build a charge in our personal field of all of that good stuff. And then eventually, when it gets strong enough and fast enough, it flips over into that light that you can radiate, that glow that you can sometimes sense or detect off of someone, even if you can't quite see it with your physical eye. This is what helps to lift everybody around us, to stay in touch with ourselves, and ultimately to bring about change in the world from the correct frequency. We don't want to be acting out of doom and gloom or out of ideas that we just heard from someone who perhaps is not quite so ethical as we think. We want to be acting out of our own power and out of our own purity, our own source connection, which has autonomy, is always ours, and which no one can take away. Something amazing starts to happen when you just stop. Of course, sometimes it feels uncomfortable or not something that you're so familiar with. And all those thoughts and feelings that you've been experiencing in the background, they can suddenly increase. And you find yourself thinking, uh-oh, I'm not doing it right, or there's loads of stuff going on here. I can't make it stop. But as you persist in just doing nothing, the strange thing is that all of that revs up and then it dies away. And you realize it's just like a wind blowing through, like the weather. And then it changes and the sun comes out. Slowly, something begins to expand and become more and more spacious. And that's all of you, rather than just some of you, which gets crowded out by all those emotions and thoughts. And that's what we want. We want all of you here, not the little bit that gets pushed back and remains after all of the difficulty that you have every day. We want all of you out here in this space, in this physical reality, so none of that other crap can force its way in and take over our everyday lives and also what's going on inside you. This is how you take healthy control over yourself. And it's just you. There's nobody else here reaching into you or doing anything. It's just you stopping so that nothing moves in and out except more of you coming in to this reality. It doesn't cost you anything at all. You don't need money. This mechanism is always there happening. You're not at a disadvantage in comparison to anybody else or an advantage. Everything is a level playing field right from the beginning.